Good morning from wet Winnipeg. Yeah, it did rain yesterday, and it's been raining all night, and it's supposed to rain all day today. Well, as it turns out, it doesn't matter. I don't need to take this thing outside and spray it anyway because we're not ready to spray. In the rollback, you'll be able to see how we got to this place. But first of all, why do I have the humidity displayed there? It's 37% humidity right now here at the model table. Now, a little while ago, I noticed it was 40, so it's drying up. But it's only 37% humidity. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is one of the viewers was talking about how it was 100% humidity where they were, and my goodness, that would kill me. And I think I replied back to him that somehow Winterpeg doesn't look so bad anymore. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I should stop complaining about the weather and just be happy with what we got. You know, the rain, it makes the flowers grow, right? But as for today, we got no sunrise. What we do have is a bunch of poor, wet, soggy rabbits hopping around in the wet grass. Yeah, I wonder if the moisture goes right through to their skin, or does their fur shed water sort of like feathers on a duck. I don't know. Anyway, this is not about rabbits and ducks. It's about the model ship. And my plan is to, well, let's roll back first, and then you'll see how I got to this place. And then we'll talk about what I want to do and how I hope it's going to go. Okay, we are back to where we were about 24 hours ago right now, before we mounted the hull on what Jeff Donahue described as the rotisserie. And I had forgotten that we were referring to that as the rotisserie. Not very often, but I do recall somebody calling it the rotisserie. Now, I'm thinking that I'll probably work on the one on the far side first, because that'll be the hardest, and get it out of the way. And I'm thinking that if I'm going to be dropping sprue goo in here, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not. Maybe it's not a good idea. Well, let's get it glued in place here. And we could just lift it up a little bit here. Okay, that makes this plane a little bit more level. So if we do decide to drop any sprue goo in there and sort of build up the crack a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm just sort of playing it by ear. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the nice, neat job that Paul did. But we're going to give it a try here. I haven't done anything with this thing since the end of the last video. So maybe I should just see if I can maybe trim it up just a little bit more before we glue it in place. No, not like that. Okay, yeah, that's what I had intended to do. And I don't do retakes. Okay. Now, if we were to glue that in there like that, and then shape around it after it dries, let's just do that. What's that on the end of my applicator? Oh, it's nothing. It's the applicator's bent. All right, let's see if we can just very carefully start to work this into place here. Or is it going to be about as worked into place as it can get? Maybe I should use Mr. T's poking device. It's a lot sharper. It'll dig into the plastic and I can work it around. Maybe that's about as down as it's going to go. Oh, careful, Ron. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure there. All right. Now, if we were to take the sprue goo here, I still haven't tested this out to see how viscous it is, but it looks like it's pretty solid. Not real solid, but on the other hand, it could be. It could be that a lot of the solvent has evaporated out of it. Wouldn't want to light a match when I take that lid off. I can well imagine there'd be pretty explosive inside there right now. Okay, let's just leave that for a little bit here. I'm thinking I might not need the sprue goo. Okay, I'm just going to take the corners off just a little bit here. Just a little bit. There'll be less filing to have to do later. And this one. And maybe off the top just a tiny bit. Alright. Now how's this going to go? This is the sort of thing that I'm not good at. Some people are so gifted at this. And I am not. Okay. All right. It's like it's sticking to my tweezer. Well, let's get some extra thin on there. Maybe I should be using my new bottle. Okay. Now, Mr. T's pointing device here. Just trying to push it down into place as the plastic sort of... Oh, not too hard, Ron. Maybe I should be waiting a little bit longer. We're going to be drilling a hole there anyway. Okay, I think that's going to be all right. Now my plan is, I was noticing that the plastic on this part right here is fairly thick. Unless that was a lip I was looking at. And I'm thinking if I just take and file this after everything cures, you know, file it round and kind of pointy a little bit. I don't want to make it, you know, too much. And it's going to be hard to not scrape the hull while I'm doing it. But maybe if I put some masking tape on there, that'll keep the file from rubbing on the hull. Yeah, I think this is going to work. Paul, your idea is working here. Okay, well over an hour now has passed since we glued this up. And It might be a little bit soft yet. And I have this almost compulsive feeling to try and round this over. But I was thinking about it while I was editing out those last 3 scenes that we just saw. And I was thinking it might be a real good idea to drill the hole first. And that way we can contour everything towards the hole, if you know what I mean. I'm sure there's a word for it, but anyway, yeah, and I think the best way to drill the hole is drill it from the inside. Maybe lay the shaft along the inside of this part right here, and when it comes up against the other side there, it should be pretty much centered. And then afterwards, like I say, then we'll contour this down. Not too much though, because if we go too much, then we're going to end up, going right through and having a gap. But I think that this is going to work. I think it's going to work. Now, I don't know how easy it's going to be to get a drill bit on the inside. I might have to make up some sort of a jig that would have a real long drill bit that would go way back into the center of the hull there, so that I can get it laying flat along this area here. I don't know, I'm just sort of thinking out loud here. But that's going to have to be tomorrow. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well, it is morning. And what I've got here is a piece of brass rod. I was just trying to remember when it was I bought this. It would go back probably at least 10 years. And you can see that on the end here I've threaded this end of it. I can't remember why it is that I threaded it. I don't know if it was a case of I did it because I wanted to see if I could, or if I actually had a purpose for it in mind. And I know that back then I was thinking about making some sort of a clock, a small clock, not like the big clock project, but a smaller one that was going to involve both metal parts and wooden parts, probably mostly wooden. Anyway, I remembered this rod, and Tennessee Jim, something like this would work really good for making a micro adjustment for that circle cutter we were working on the other day, wouldn't it? Yeah. I could just thread it up a little bit further and tap the wood, and anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I remembered this rod, and I haven't measured it, but I've got a feeling that it's probably pretty much the same diameter as the shaft. Now, I haven't tried this, so this is going to be the first time. I want to see how would it be if instead of trying to drill the hole from the inside of the hull out, maybe we could, and like I say, this is going to be the first time, so let's just see if this is going to fit through here. Okay, we could go something like this. Okay, and just sort of eyeball it where it comes to the center, and then drill. Now, of course, I'm going to have to make some sort of a spade bit on the end here. And then we could use our electric drill. No, I don't care if I ruin these threads. I'm not going to use them anyway, so don't worry about that. Okay. I think something like this would probably work all right. Just let me give it a whirl there. I could get it centered, like I say, just sort of eyeball it. Let me check the screen. Can you actually see that? Anyway, I think you get the idea. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. You probably have noticed by now that in these episodes, I change my mind a lot. I go from drilling from the inside of the hull out to drilling from the outside of the hull in. And I hadn't thought about this bit for this rod first thing yesterday. I didn't think about it until late last night. In fact, I think I was in bed. Maybe I dreamt about it. Anyway, let's see what we can do here. It'd be kind of fun. Yeah. Okay, I know it probably doesn't look like it, but the propeller shafts here are 7/100ths of a millimeter larger in diameter than our brass rod. And what I'm thinking is if I was to pound down, like flatten out a little bit, the end of the brass rod here, like on an anvil type thing, and that would widen it out. And then if I could make sort of a spade bit out of that flattened part. Okay, now that's the plan. I'm probably not going to, show this being done on camera, but we will look at it after I'm done. Okay, I took this thing down into the workshop, and I just flattened it out on a little anvil that is on one of my on my vise on the workbench. I'm sure that most of you have one almost exactly like it. In fact, a lot of you probably have something a lot more heavy duty than what I've got. And Trainman Dave, you'd probably laugh if you thought you had to use something like what I've got. Anyway, you can see here that it's wider now than it was before. Well, maybe you can't, but I measured it. It's about 1/10 of a millimeter wider now than the propeller shaft. So if I can sharpen this down now into like a spade bit, and yet somehow have it pointy at the end so that it's going to stay in the pilot hole that I'm going to sort of try and poke in the plastic. At least that's the plan. I'm not sure yet exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to give it a whirl here, and we'll take a look at it after I'm done. Okay, when I was down in my workshop, I used this tag as a reference, and I held it so that the tag was horizontal, and then when I pounded it flat that way, I now know that as long as I keep this tag horizontal like this, or turn it 180 degrees like this, I know that my flat area is going to be at the right angle. Now, brass should be fairly easy to file down. And here we go. This is going to be my first time. Once again, you're seeing it along with me for the first time, so. Maybe I'll grab it a little closer down here. I don't think I need to worry about it getting too hot. That way I can put more pressure on it and take more off. Okay, how are we doing here? Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, I think we might actually be able to make something out of this. Let's do the other way now a little bit here. Yeah, I'm just going to keep working at it, and we'll look at it after I'm done. The trick is going to be how do I get it sort of pointy without taking the sharp edge down? I'll think of something. Okay. Do you remember hearing me say something about this thing won't get hot? Boy, did I get a quick surprise. Yeah, it did get hot. Okay, I think I've pretty much got it about as good as I can with the file. I'm going to try and use my whetstone and see if I can't just make it a little bit more sharp. It's not pointy, but it's rounded, so it might stay in whatever hole I try to pilot hole I sort of poke in the plastic. I'm going to try on the whetstone to sort of roll it back and forth, like this. That might work. I don't know. Once again, this is kind of new to me. Now, there's something that I'm sure of and something that I'm only a little bit sure of. And I'm pretty sure that sharpening brass on your whetstone is probably going to embed the brass into the whetstone. But I'm going to be redressing this whetstone anyway. I do it periodically. I have a special little diamond device that fastens on here, and you go back and forth, and you can get your stone almost perfectly in round and flat across. Now, the other thing that I was kind of sure of is that brass will, did I say this already? Brass will sharpen probably just as sharp as steel, but it just won't stay. It won't keep its edge. Now that's just my uneducated opinion. I've never taken anything in metal or anything like that. Just from personal experience. So I'm gonna try and see if I can do this on my whetstone here, and yeah, this thing makes a lot of noise. Any of you guys have these Tormacs? Does yours make a noise like this? You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a 120 volt motor being run by 220, or 240. It's got this sort of buzzing sound to it, or almost like it's wired wrong or something. But it's still working. I've had it for several years, and I've used it a lot. It hasn't burned out, so maybe it's just a characteristic of this type of motor. Anyway, let's get at it here. I'll move you in. Okay, I haven't looked at this under the microscope yet. I think it is very, very sharp. Maybe not as sharp as the number 11 hobby blade. I'm not sure if there's a little, what you might call a burr on the cutting edge or not, or if it's just that it is so sharp it looks like that. You know what? I think we should find a piece of scrap plastic, fasten it down, and see if it'll drill a hole through it. I don't think we're going to dull it very much by drilling through plastic. We definitely couldn't use it on metal. Might be able to use it on wood for a while, as long as we kept the RPM down and the heat down. I know it sounds like I don't know what I want to do next, because it's sort of, I don't know what I want to do next here. But yeah, let's just grab a piece of scrap plastic and see if we can't drill a hole. All right. Now let's pretend we want to put a hole. Let's see if we go in just below this part right here. It should be uniform thickness all the way through, similar to the way the patches that we glued on the bottom of the hull over there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten this down so that it doesn't move, and I'll put the macro lens back on later. I guess maybe I should have made a pilot hole first, or at least a little mark, but I think we can probably do that with the macro lens on. And then I'll be putting this in this, and I'll be coming in at this angle right here. You'll be in so close you will completely lose perspective, so I'm sort of describing what's going to be happening here. Okay, what I've got here is Mr. T's poking device, and we're just going to poke a little hole here, and that is where we want to drill the hole. Yeah, you know, it'd be quite easy right now on something like this to take a smaller bit and make a proper pilot hole, except I can't get the smaller bit in where that patch is that we glued on the hull. Now, is this going to wander around on us when I start it up, or is it going to sort of stay where I want it? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's to actually try it here. So here we go. Nope, it's going to wander. We got to think of something else here. Unless I was to make some sort of a guide that I could slip this rod through that would hold it to keep it from wandering, if you know what I mean. Let's try it one more time here. We're through. Well, maybe it would work. Okay, I pushed record again here before I took everything down. Let's see, how does our shaft fit, or is it too much play involved? Oh my, it's almost a perfect fit. It's perfect. Or is the hole a little bit oblong? It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to be looking that close. Nobody's going to look that close. I'm kind of pleased with this. Well, yep, it fits. Okay. We're going to have to wait until the next episode to see how this works out. Getting on here this afternoon, and I didn't realize I had taken so much footage already. Thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.